Hey, Frank.
Say that pranks are supposed to be funny. This wasn't funny. This was a racist act, and a black bear is not supposed to be just right. It was illegal, and it's not right. Pranks are not funny. This prank was not funny.
Okay, thank you.
Is anything going to be done with them at all? Like, educationally?
Oh,
like,
sure,
are they being
sure.
kicked out of school?
See, I can't talk to you about that. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
The student judicial processes are covered by FERPA. It's the Family Educational
Sure.
Rights Privacy Act. And so what actually happens to them on campus is really covered by FERPA, and I just can't answer. It isn't that I don't want to answer. It isn't that I don't want to tell you. I simply can't.
Okay.
And so what I can tell you is that the judicial processes are at work. They will work. They will go forward, and the sanctions will be appropriate to the evidence.
Okay.
All right. And I have feelings about this. You have feelings about this. But in the end, whatever actions the university takes has to be based in the evidence that's available. And I feel as though with our police, with the Secret Service, and everybody being involved in it, that we've gotten the best evidence we can get. And so now it's a matter of turning that over to the appropriate authorities, either to our chief judicial officer or to the district attorney. It's actually both.
So I guess what our main question that we were just discussing was, this is generally would be considered a felony crime against an animal. Like
Well, I don't see. What we don't know is, was this an animal that they actually killed, or was it an animal that they subdued? Those are the kind of things that we're trying to figure out.
So they would have just shot it in the head after
or
the fact?
they may not have shot it at all. We don't actually know. What we do know is that if it is a wildlife crime, then the Wildlife Commission and the wildlife enforcement officers are also involved. And in fact, there is a person assigned to this case from wildlife. They will also work with the district attorney on any wildlife violations. And that's a separate issue from university issues, which involve the placement of a dead animal on the campus, the use of political signs. That is where we can, as a university, act. What they did off campus or didn't do off campus is really subject to laws that really are not, that we cannot enforce. They're not ours per se. And that has to do with simply the authority of a university. It's not whether I think it's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just simply what the legal authority of the university is. When they brought it to campus, then we have every right to act and have. Whatever they did out in the community, it's just like if somebody speeds, and this is not the equivalent, but if somebody were to speed off campus, we can't take an internal action against them. That's not what we do. So whatever they did off campus is being handled, involving the bear, that's being handled by wildlife.
Honestly, the reason why we have this question is because, in the article that is posted on our school website, it says that, we're not sure if they're going to be prosecuted. We don't know what
we don't know if they're going to be prosecuted because that's the district attorney's decision and not our decision.
Even if it is the district attorney's decision, that's just wrong. What they did was wrong.
What they did was wrong. Absolutely. Now, a legal prosecution is a question involving whether or not the district attorney feels that there is evidence of a law being broken at a level that he or she can actually convict. And that's not a determination that we're in a position to make.
And I guess that goes back to what we were saying just a second ago, is that, so if it doesn't go legally, which I can't imagine it wouldn't, because, you're talking about killing a bear, you're talking about, this is an Obama issue, clearly, but as a school, I don't think any member that is standing here right now is willing to have those 7 members show back up on our campus. And I think that that's not justification in my eyes, but it would be some justice.
It's a real issue, and I certainly understand the feeling. When you're dealing with a public entity like a university, and this is the hard stuff of being chancellor. This is not the easy stuff, because I can feel a certain way about something, but I have to act within the law. And so the law really sets out the kind of conditions under which you can do certain things to individuals.
Can we move to the microphone?
Wherever you'd like to be. Sure.
Yeah, let's actually hear.
So, well, no, I don't actually want to speak through the mic on this. I want to talk to y'all. This is not a big announcement sort of thing. This is a talk with y'all.
I just wanted, if I could intervene, I know you're busy.
No, not at all.
But you mentioned about the students, the amount of students we have here. If you notice, there's only a handful of us here.
Sure.
Was this a spur-of-the-moment speech? Because
It wasn't a
I think
spur-of-the-moment
more students would have liked to have been here.
Right. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment speech so much as I felt I communicated with the campus yesterday as we knew more about what the situation was. And then I felt as though there were students who were really, who were extra concerned about this, and we needed to have an opportunity to talk with those students individually, and that's what this really was about today, was to try to pull students in who wanted to really talk about this. And so, that was really, we announced this morning as a way of saying anyone who wants to come talk about it as part of the conversation. We'll continue looking at the issue, and then we'll probably, as this matures a little further, we get through the election, what we're trying to do is have a real educational session on how all this fits together. What does it mean in terms of elections, and what does it mean in terms of being on campus community? Because it really affects all kinds of things. It's not any one individual that it affects. It affects the university standing in the United States. It affects who we are as a community. It affects you and how you feel about your university. And there's a lot of people and a lot of things that are affected. So we're going to take this in multiple steps. And today was really an effort to try to say, let's answer immediate questions to the extent that I can. And those that I can't answer, let me at least explain why I can't answer them, rather than just simply say, oh, I can't answer them.
So do you think that we could possibly set a date and have it very well publicized where all 9,000 of our members, because I mean the growth of our school was gigantic over the last year. We went from 5,000 to 9,000.
Well, not a year, we went over about a decade.
Right, but really a huge population growth over the last year particularly. And I feel that, like you were saying, this is a gross misrepresentation of what we are,
yeah,
and I would like to see this entire lawn filled with students.
Actually, what I'd like to do,
the community in general should have an opportunity to hear something like this, because it affects our community just as much as it affects the population of our university. I mean, it speaks volumes that this is gone nationally in some instances, and I don't want to be associated with this kind of stuff nationally.
And what I would say is what we're going to try to do is to pull together a big workshop. Probably won't be out here. Probably do it in a more formal setting where we actually have a real chance to have some folks talk with you about the various pieces, get feedback, get conversation. But that takes a little longer to put together than just simply a day. And so we want to do that right, and we want to make sure that it's an opportunity for this community to come together, to talk and to think and to exchange views, and also to put it in the broader context of what we're trying to accomplish as a university. Because this is about as counter to anything that we're trying to accomplish as a university as I can think of.
Sure.
So it's just not where we are as an institution or where we're going. And so it's really important that we have that campus conversation, but to not do so in the heat of the moment, where we can actually sit down and reason and talk together and think through how we manage these kinds of incidents.
So do you think this was just a prank, or do you think?
I think the evidence shows that if the Secret Service thought there was something really horrible going on here, they would probably have arrested the individuals immediately, is what I would guess.
So they have not been arrested?
No, not by the Secret Service, to the best of my knowledge, unless it's something happened today. So I would say that you need to ask the Secret Service about that. They don't confide in me. So
What I'm asking you is, as Chancellor of our school, do you believe this is a prank or not? Not with the Secret Service.
I haven't looked at all of the detailed evidence because I'm in the appellate process. What I can tell you is, based on the knowledge that I have today, based on the representations that have been made to me, based on representations that have been made, based on discussions with the SBI and with the Secret Service, it appears as though that is what it was a very, 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 very stupid prank.
Okay, so that's what you believe.
That's what it appears today to be. If the evidence is different than that, I can promise you we will treat it.
Okay. I have a question. The email that was sent out, I guess this morning, I checked it, and it said this was going to be taking place on Monday, and a lot of students, like even people that
no, it's taking place today.
Well, I was just saying the email said Monday.
That may have been here. Okay.
Yeah, so that may be why some students aren't here.
Well, I think also there's been a lot of information flowing around the campus, so I think a lot of people are getting the information as to what's been going on, and so I think there are people who are still very concerned about it, and other people who have had their questions answered sufficiently for them. So there's kind of you'll get a mixed reaction, and that's why I decided it was probably really important to have an opportunity for people to talk personally about it, and that's really why I decided to do this morning.
Are you aware of another discussion happening Monday?
I'm not aware.
It came from my cat. It was a campus-wide email.
We'll check that. I'm actually not, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't do something that's on that.
Okay.
Okay. I do believe there's going to be a workshop or something in the next day or two that political science and history may be putting together. I think they're working on something like that as well. But we'll keep you all informed as that stuff matures.
Okay.